And I personally see humor in everything. And no matter what I'm doing, I can find the funny in everything.
It's obvious that comedy is your passion.
Yes.
When did you realize that?
You know, I've been probably, if you ask some of my closest friends, I've probably been funny since elementary school. I can remember us just sitting in the lunchroom, just vibing, cracking jokes. I actually got beat up once for cracking on somebody in junior high school. So I've always been funny. I just kind of kept it amongst my close friends, but now it's like I want to share it with the world.
At what point did you decide to break out and say, I'm funny and I want everybody to know?
I decided to go to one of my favorite coffee shops and sign up for open mic comedy. And I just said, I'm getting on that stage. I'm going to do it. You know, it takes some courage to get on that stage now because, you know, it's you putting yourself out there. And if people don't laugh at your jokes, you know, it's like, you know, it can kind of wound your ego a little bit. So, you know, it takes some courage to get on that stage.
Well, you know what's funny? You know, people are afraid to go on the stage in general for the fear of people laughing at them. But when you're a comedian, it's the opposite.
Right.
You know, you're afraid that people aren't going to laugh at you.
True. And so that can be hard. But, you know, I just feel like what's in me is me, just be myself, be raw. I'm not afraid to talk about any subject. I think there's humor in everything from the way that I grew up. I'm very much into spirituality. And so about maybe over 10 years ago, I got caught up in this cult. It was a cult.
Like Jim Jones?
Like Jim, it was pretty damn close to Jim Jones, yes.
And that cult was where? It wasn't in Atlanta, I know.
It was in Atlanta. I'm not gonna call the name.
Okay.
I'm not gonna call any names, but it was a cult here in Atlanta. And it's just like when you come in, they're really nice. They make you feel welcome. They feed you good, you know, and make you feel part of this big community. But then the thing behind the scene is all about money.
Wait a minute. They feed you good?
Feed you good.
Like soul food? What did they feed
No, it's
you?
not soul food. They were Japanese. So
Okay.
Japanese, good Japanese food, authentic.
A Japanese cult? Now, how did you make that connection?
You know, when you lost within yourself, you'll join anything that you think will make you feel better. So even
a Japanese cult, you're an African American woman. How does an African American woman run across a Japanese cult and get deeply involved in it? You had to be the only African American in it.
Well, it was a couple of us that got suckered in. It was a few of us that got suckered in. I wasn't the only one, but let me tell you how I got suckered in. The title of the organization was very inviting. So I'm thinking we go on the woo side.
Well, can you tell us, even though you can't give us the actual name, can you tell us what about the title that, you know, made it inviting?
Happiness. And at the time I was looking for some happiness, and I found them, and I came through the doors. I was working as a clergy. I was doing lectures. And make a long story short, they took our black asses to Japan. And when we got over there for the first week, it was learning the Japanese culture. We had tea, the proper way to drink tea, and we stayed in the grandest hotels. And then that second week, no fucking windows in the building.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You stayed in a grand hotel.
A grand hotel in Japan.
Did the windows disappear or did you move to a new location?
We moved to a new location that did not have windows.
Okay, did they say, okay, you're checking out of this hotel?
Yes, we checked out and they pretty much you're checking out, but they didn't tell us where we like the Rose Motel. They didn't tell us where we was checking into. And it was pretty dark, pretty damn dark.
And so what happened?
The first issue I had was when they said we were to address the leader as master. Now, you know, black folks ain't calling nobody damn master. We done been through that time in history. That's over with for us. I said, no, he ain't my master now. And he was supposed to be this reincarnated figure of Jesus, of God.
A Japanese?
A Japanese man that wanted us to worship him as God.
Really?
He had this 20-foot statue, gold statue of fucking him. And I'm like, what the fuck? And we like, this ain't.
And you ran into this guy in Atlanta?
In Atlanta.
And how many people were suckered into this cult?
There were at the time there were probably register, there were probably hundreds, but there were probably only like 10 of us that went to Japan.
How did you get out of this situation? Is that when you decided to use your skills, your funny skills, to negotiate your way out?
Hell yeah, we got that. I said, this is the fucking devil. I mean, I come from the Baptist church. That's just forbidden. So I'm like, we got to get the hell up out of here. Nonetheless, we left running for our lives.
A lot of your writing is about past experiences, and this sounds like a major one.
A major. It was life-changing.
How do you find humor in difficult times?
Oh, you have to. I mean, if you look at anything difficult that you go through, it's easy because even in a difficult time, you can still find something to laugh about.
Tell us one of the funniest situations you've been in that you presented on stage.
I talk about my experience with a threesome and how I was upstairs, and before I could get downstairs, the group that I decided to participate with, they had already started. What do I do? What do I fit in? So it was one of those awkward moments of trying to have a threesome, and I still say threesomes are from the devil. I truly believe that they're not of God. You know how soggy, Frosted Flakes get after you? You let them sit for a while. So I didn't want them. So I'm sitting there like sopping up and just regurgitating, trying to keep from throwing up to eat those. And they're watching me eat, stuff like that. I find comical,
How would you turn that particular situation into something that's funny for the audience?
I would say that those foster parents that decide to get foster kids, don't get them for the money. Get them for the love. Don't get them for a business. The business aspect of foster parenting is just, get these kids and, give them the bare minimum. Give them the bare minimum bed and some food and place to stay. But a genuine foster parent gives them love.
Care and love. You've been writing for years.
Yes.
You have a lot of jokes in your archives.
I do.
But you're just now starting to deliver. So even if you're not delivering the jokes on stage, you have the ability and the talent to write for other comedians as well.
Absolutely, absolutely, because there's a lot in me. Like, I can write and talk about any subject, so I'm very versed in a lot of different subjects, especially when it comes to spirituality and religion. And that's a whole nother sector of jokes. This is our God. If you think any different than I do, you're going to hell, and that's not the fucking truth. God is one God for everybody, so, just jokes centered around that. Working, being a mother, how, they don't talk about how being a parent is really difficult. It's not as fun and glamorous as they paint a picture for it to be. It's tough, So just around parenting, around sex, being a Black woman, what it means to own our own sexuality, our own individuality, our own everything as being a woman, and just what it really talks about being a woman. And then I can even relate to me, and I understand what a Black man goes through.
How do you understand what a Black man goes through?
Because, for one, my father was a Black man who I admired and adored. And I understand because I understand what the struggle of a Black man can be, especially
a woman can understand the struggle of a Black man?
Yes. And I love my Black brothers. Some of y'all ain't got y'all shit together, but I love y'all and respect you.
It's not just us.
So I'm talking about my brothers, how y'all sometimes just fall off, but real women, we support our men and we help our men get back on that gravy train.
Okay. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And those are the type of women that Black men need to keep us going, to keep us uplifted. There's a lot of obstacles in the way for us. So we need to have a good teammate on our team if we're going to succeed.
Yes.
And if we're going to succeed together.
Yes, absolutely. And that's what it's about. It's about pulling each other up. Dr. King said you can't expect a bootless man to pull himself up by his bootstraps. But I'm saying you can actually be a bootless man and pull yourself up by the bootstraps because it's about determination. And that goes from both parts, from the Black woman to the Black man. We can pull each other up. So next Monday the 30th at Joe's Coffee Shop in East Atlanta. Google directions. I will be there from 5 to 7. You can come check me out. I'm going to have some new raw, funny ass material for you. So come support a sister.
So you're going to have new funny material. What are you going to be talking about? You got to give me a hint because I'm going to come check you out.
I'm going to talk about probably just relationships and life and just moving through life. You know what I'm saying? Just finding that balance to be productive, but also to still be human.